Hi guys, and welcome to a super quick video that I wanted to share with you guys of my top 5 underrated and underused Wood Elf units. Now this is just from my personal experience of Wood Elf opponents I've come up against and what they've brought, and these are a few units I feel that still have some decent capabilities. They're not completely useless, but they just don't get anywhere near enough love or use. And number 1, of course, is going to be the mighty Glade Lady, and that is completely not true. She is probably the most often picked lord. The real first choice is down here, and this is going to be our number 1 choice, the Treekin. Now if you have a quick look at their stats here, they come in with a massive 90 armor. 25 melee attack isn't too good, but it does do magic damage, give them a little bit of a niche. They come in with 51 melee defense and are immune to psychology with over 3,500 health. These guys are absolute tanks. The ultimate roadblock, which you would think would be perfect for a Wood Elf build. You have a lot of lightly armored archers you want to protect, and these guys seem to fit the bill perfectly. But unfortunately, and what you're going to see throughout this list, is that they just do not synergize well with the current meta for Wood Elves. The normal way people tend to play Wood Elves is going for those snipe builds with Way Watchers, a Glade Lady with the net, and sniping out key targets to pull apart an army, or going for a rush build, bringing the Helm of Discord or Orion, lots of Wild Riders and Dryads, and lots of nasty Vanguard stuff. Unfortunately, the Treekin come in with a very pitiful 34 speed. They cannot keep up with these type of builds, so unfortunately you do not get to see the Treekin pretty much at all, apart from the very rare Durfu star build. But I think personally they have some very good value in being that ultimate roadblock and helping protect some of your ranged units. Now speaking of Durfu and big trees, number 2 on this list is going to be the mighty Treeman himself. And unfortunately he's very similar to the Treekin, coming in with a whopping 110 armor, causing terror, huge leadership, melee defense and melee attack, and 430 fat weapon strength. He's an absolute beast, but once again comes in at a little bit too slow. 35 speed and a large target does make him a bit of a problem for the Wood Elves to bring. Most times you will see a big old forest dragon coming along with all those rush builds, and also sometimes to protect Way Watchers. The big ancient Treeman here, or just regular Treeman as well, can simply not keep up. So unfortunately he falls into the same category as the Treekin, simply not getting enough love, but at the same time he can certainly hold his weight in the fight and then really help anchor a battle line. Coming in at number 3, just behind him here, we do in fact have the Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts. These guys come in with a huge 170 range attack, giving them a very decent amount of line of fire. This version here is the Starfire Shaft, coming in with those fire shots, but equally you do not get to see either of the 3 options, the Poison, Starfire Shaft, or the regular cheap and cheerful one. Now, it's very confusing why these guys aren't seen too often on initial glance. They're fairly cheap for the damage output they can bring, and consistent long-range firepower is perfect for getting rid of mass troops, which the Wood Elves often get surrounded and dragged down by. The problem is they are slightly punching under their weight compared to Deepwood Scouts and Way Watchers. The other variety of archers just do so much more burst damage, and with the current meta and style of play the Wood Elves like to play, Super Glass Cannon going in there and punching and knocking out units and key targets very quickly, they simply do not do that. They take much more time to do all their damage, but come on with consistent fire, and if you have a front line sturdy enough to protect these guys, such as Treekin, they can work very effectively. But unfortunately, because of the current meta, Glade Guard are a unit you don't see too often. They can shoot whilst moving forward as well, so they certainly have some skirmish potential, but unfortunately they are outclassed by Deepwood Scouts in most roles. But coming in with a nice synergy with the Treekin and the big Treeman, I can see them certainly doing well. Number 4 on our list is actually going to be the first hero or lord, and only hero or lord on this list, and it is the Stalker, considered by most to be a bit of a meme. I have a very different view on him entirely. Not only does he come in with some very nice buffs to nearby ranged people, even working quite well in that very skirmishy Waywatcher build, he also, more importantly, comes in with the Arrows of Kurnos. Initially, you may think this spell or ability doesn't do too much damage, firing a small amount of magic missiles, which can be used 3 times during a battle. However, it has some really nice uses, especially up against artillery. For example, say you're coming up against Skaven and you know they're going to bring those long-range guns to try and jag down your very squishy wood elves. You bring a Waste Stalker and a Glade Lady, probably up in the air on an eagle, both of which have Arrows of Kurnos. You hop on top of that Warp Lightning Cannon with both those, and 2 of those bad boys almost instantly from the start of the battle will be deleted, therefore taking your opponent's long-range prowess down a couple of notches very early on. He's also a pretty decent melee combatant and can protect Waywatchers, Glade Guards and those squishy back lines by throwing himself into combat and pinning in multiple units. So I think the Waste Stalker, when used correctly, can actually be a viable pick, both in the current Wood Elf meta and more of the meta I'm showing off here, of a more stable front line where he helps support the back, in particular those Glade Guard. Now finally on this list in our top 5 is going to be the most badass and awesome looking ladies of all time, and that is going to be the Wardancers right here. Not only do these guys come in with a whopping 40 melee attack and 38 melee defense, which is not too bad, they're equally immune to psychology, allowing them to stick in the fight a little bit longer than usual. And as you can see, they're going to be charging in here quite viciously and looking pretty badass at the same time. They have some of the best attack animations, as can be seen by the Shadow Dance of Loic. They're anti-infantry as well. If we have a little look at their attack stats here, they get a bonus 8 versus infantry, and they can shred lightly armoured opponents and really help clear out chaff. Now, chaff is something the Wood Elves in particular struggle with, as chaff can bog down Waywatchers and some more of their elite targets. Wardancers are incredibly quick as well for infantry, coming with 46 speed, so you may be wondering why aren't these guys picked? They seem like a perfect matchup to go with that hard-hitting, quick-moving force. Well, unfortunately, only 15 armor makes them incredibly squishy, and they take damage even up against cheap and cheerful enemies. They may be able to tear them apart, but cost-effectively, it doesn't work out too well for the ladies, even though they come in with these awesome double sword strikes right here. However, there is a simple solution to this, and that is the mighty Treekin, going all the way back to the number 1s on our list. You can combine them much in the way you would combine Skinks with Croxigor. You charge in the Treekin, who take the damage and the brunt of the force from, units here, for example, like these Crypt Ghouls, and that allows the Wardancers to come in and really shred without worrying too much about taking the damage. It is an old school classic formation, which has been used on multiple Total Wars in the past, and it works super effectively. Unfortunately for the Wardancers, you do not see Treekin much at all, and this means the Wardancers really struggle to fit in with current builds, but they will tear apart their opponents very quickly and have some really unique capabilities that normally the Wood Elves really struggle with. So I definitely think when brought in conjunction with Treekin, these ladies can certainly up their output to meet their relatively high cost for what they do. And that, guys, is going to be my top 5 list of units you do not often see and are underappreciated and definitely underused by the Wood Elves. Treekin, the mighty Treeman, the Glade Guard. Down here we have the Waste Stalker and also the Wardancers, who get in there and certainly do the business. Well, hopefully you guys appreciate this list. This isn't a video I normally do, so if you do enjoy it, please do consider giving a like button to let me know that you'd like me to do more of these in the future. I certainly know a few more armies as well, which have some really underappreciated and underused units, which can certainly be effective on the battlefield. So if you would like to see that, please put any recommendations for builds you'd like to see down in the list below, and try out some of these Wood Elf builds. Are these units you don't use, or units that you actually see quite commonly? And perhaps it is just me and my poor luck on quick battles where I haven't been able to see these builds too often. So if you do want to support the channel in any other way, I do have a Discord and a Patreon account just down in the description below. And until next time, guys, as always, peace, and stay awesome.